Hello, hello, Ascended Warriors. I am back. This is Chris Alicia. I have been super dormant for the last 12 months. I have really slowed down on the Ascended Warrior work. And I thank all of you who have continued to subscribe to the channel, who have continued to show your love for the meditations, for the information that has been passed through me. And a solid shout out for all the wonderful veterans that I have met since the beginning of Ascended Warrior a few years ago who are exploring their spirituality and finding out who they are outside of the military, outside of the three-dimensional world entirely. So thank you guys so much for your continued support. I am beginning again. And I think that's the easiest way I can say this. I had to take a year to really step back and evaluate what I was doing. I am a huge believer in divine timing. And everything I was trying to do with Ascended Warrior, even posting on social media, felt so draining to me. And it still does. I'm not going to lie about that. I have 100% hired people to do that for me. But I could not, I felt like I was fighting against the flow. Right? There's so many dreams and ideas of what I wanted to do and establish with Ascended Warrior, but I was forgetting the balance that's so important. And that balance was the three-dimensional side of myself, which was the warrior, the soldier. I had completely pushed that aside in lieu of jumping into a spiritual job that I didn't feel the same passion towards that others did. I feel like I kind of got roped into it. And that's not a criticism on anybody. That was on me. So I took the last year and I focused on really bring that three-dimensional side of myself back into a place of balance and pride. And I'm sure a lot of professionals and veterans certainly can appreciate this type of statement. I really started questioning myself if the best years of my life were behind me because I was so proud of the things that I had accomplished while in the military. And now, as a 41-year-old woman, I'm looking back and like, well, I never accomplished anything like that again. And I understand the importance of spiritual work. Trust me, I absolutely do. But I felt like I had severed a part of myself and I wasn't being true to that side of myself anymore. So I took the last 12 months and I really focused on that. I didn't forego spirituality. I like to think of myself as like a walking spiritual light, bringing that light into the military spaces, into the commercial world, but focusing on that part of my identity as well. So all that being said, I've been thinking for a while that it was time to relaunch Ascended Warrior and really get back to a place of flow on both sides. And instead of trying to teach everything that I've been learned, throw a bunch of retreats to do, I really jumped into that stuff very fast without a ton of foundation is the word that popped into my head, but that sounds like I wasn't ready. So what I'm being guided to do now is just come on and share the information as it's coming to me. And I've always been big on this idea of spiritual chat, spiritual community discussions, opening up real world events, bringing that 3D into spirituality because it's not something we can forego as spiritual people. It is a huge part of who we are. Hell, it's why we're here on this planet. So it's not something we want to forego. So how do we balance the three-dimensional and the spiritual world? And that's really something I've been motivated to talk about. It's conversations that I have all the time, but now bringing those conversations to the Ascended Warrior community, to other communities out there who are also having similar discussions. So, for example, the new moon that we had last night and that we're continuing to be in the cycle of. The three-dimensional side of that is super, super excited because this is the first time the moon has been this close to Earth in 992 years. So since the Middle Ages, the new moon has not been that close to Earth. That is a huge milestone. That's almost a complete century, or I don't know how many 1,000 years is. A mil I don't know. If you know what 1,000 years is called, please put that in the chat. And the next time the moon will be this close is 345 years from now. So in total, that's over 1,300 years between this specific new moon cycle. That has to mean something. And I got so excited about it that while I was out walking my cat, and I have this beautiful calico cat who likes to go for walks, um, not on a leash or anything like that. She just likes to go for walks in the woods together, and she climbs trees and all sorts of great stuff. So we were out last night walking, and I noticed that Mars was directly above my head. And it's so dark because the new moon, there's just beautiful stars out everywhere. So I pull out my Skyview app, which I just love my Skyview app, and I look up at Mars. And what I see next to Mars was another planet. And I scrolled down to the side, or went about 45 degrees down towards the horizon, because that's where Jupiter has been in the sky for us for a long time. And it was just super, super bright last night. And next to Jupiter were four other planets. And I kept going down in that 45-degree angle until I got to the moon and the sun right below the horizon. And next to that, next to the moon and the sun was another planet. And just below that was another planet. So I really started getting excited. I started taking screen captures of this alignment of planets, because I had just been focused on the new moon and bringing in that energy of rebirth. And when I saw the ways that the planets were lined up, and then started looking in closer to see what constellations were they attached to or adjacent to. What does it mean when two planets overlap? So that's what I want to share tonight. I want to tap into the energy, not just of the new moon, but to the planetary alignments that are available to us at this time. And I've got some cool slides that I put together that I want to share. I don't know if I can share them on YouTube, so I might have to just put them in the post. But before we jump into that, I just want to do a quick meditation to ground us into this energy, to open us up to whatever it is the universe is providing for us at this time. So let's take a couple deep breaths. I want you to close your eyes, settle into the chair or where you're lying down. Make sure your feet are flat against the earth if you are in your chair. And just take a couple deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel as that in-breath expands your lungs, bringing oxygen all the way down into the belly and back out. Feel your feet where they rest against the earth. Feel your clothing as it settles against your skin, bringing your focus inside. Continue to bring your focus into your chest, and we're going to start by opening our heart chakra and connecting to this beautiful new moon energy. So focus on that center heart space in between your chest. Imagine emerald green as it shoots in through the front and the back of your chest, expanding your heart chakra, cleansing, opening, bring in this playful energy as it spirals and spins. Visualize this green energy moving up to the throat chakra in the center of your throat. Witness it merge with that royal blue color, cleansing and clearing, allowing your self-expression to heighten at this beautiful time of rebirth. Focus on that emerald green energy as it moves up through the third eye, connecting to your spiritual intuition, to your higher self, cleansing and cleaning your third eye to allow for a new vision, a clear image, the ability to see the connection between the spiritual and physical world. And allow that emerald green energy to shoot out through your crown chakra, that beautiful white light at the top of your head. Feel as it expands out your crown, connecting straight into the heart of the moon. Feel her cool energy. Feels like a solitary female, strengthened, confident in herself, unconditionally loving, providing strength and wisdom down to the earth. Allow her energy to shoot down through that tube of light that we've created from the heart. Feel as it passes through the crown, through the third eye, down through the throat, connecting and expanding that heart, moving down through your solar plexus, through your sacral chakra, down through your root, all the way down to the heart of Gaia, allowing this beautiful sister energy to connect with you, merging and bridging the center. Feel as that energy cleanses every cell of your being, expanding your aura, clearing off any dust and debris that comes from interactions with the three-dimensional world. Feel as your aura expands out further and further, encapsulating these two energies of moon and earth, bridging the above, the below, and within. Now allowing that energy to stay open for as long as you like. You can keep that connection through this evening, inviting in any dreams and wisdom that these beautiful sisters need to provide. And we ask that all messages be for the highest good of all. And leaving that connection open, I want you to bring your focus back to your body, back into your hands. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, you can open your eyes. Now, this new moon energy feels, it's almost like a silver sheet of water is how I envision it. And I have this beautiful picture that I got in New Orleans. It's a silver woman. She's down on her knees and she's got her hair down. And there's just this beautiful silver rain cascading down around her. And as you can see the rivulets as they move through the painting, that's kind of how I envision this energy. There's such a sense of new, cleaning away everything that we had before, breaking the molds that no longer serve us. And that connection to Earth and how it's serving Earth at this moment is really what I tapped into by looking at the planets. So starting where the new moon and the sun were overlapped, and they're overlapped at 1%, I believe, which is a really tight connection of those two energies, water on the moon and the fire of sun, which are the balancing energies. And if you look at alchemy, fire is the first step of ascension, which is burning away all that you know you don't need. It's burning away the false self. So imagine seeing an image of yourself in the mirror and watching that everything that's not real burn away. And what you're left with is who you truly are. It's washing or burning away all of the other people's comments, labels, who you think you are, but you just don't quite feel like you fit into. The next phase of alchemy is the water. You're bringing in water to cleanse what has been burned, to wash away all of the ash, all of the debris, anything that kind of got stuck. So when you talk about the sun and the moon being so closely aligned, it really reminds me of those two steps. bringing in fire and water. Now, next to the sun and the moon were several different energies. So you know that the moon is in or moving into Aquarius. This is new moon Aquarius. And Aquarius has that wonderful hippie energy. And I always say hippie, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It has a spirit that is unlike any other energy. So if the moon is moving into Aquarius or encompassing Aquarius, think of that new energy emulating or moving towards that sense of freedom, that sense of self, breaking the mold, unconditional love, um, untraditional love, being able to speak and own and live in yourself in a way that is not always easy to do in the other elements. Aquarius is very much external out. They just encompass themselves in such a beautiful, expanded way instead of having all these battles that they fight within, which, certainly I have in Aries. So you look at where the sun and the moon were overlapped, and I'm just trying to look on my notes so I make sure that I, uh, show what was here. So directly north of the sun and the moon was Venus and Saturn completely overlapped. Now, Venus and Saturn are sitting directly in the Aquarius constellation here in Virginia, directly above where I am here. So I took a step back. I said, okay, one, I can catch all of these planets in the same picture in my little phone screen. So these things are astronomically close together at this time and in a beautiful alignment. So in Aquarius, you've got Venus. Now, Venus feeds Aquarius with this beautiful love, this feminine energy, and again, very much water. Venus and Aquarius are very much emotional elements. They bring in that unconditional love, that ability to see with your heart instead of with your eyes, but also empathy. It brings in the ability to feel for other people, to feel what other people are going through. So, those two energies being Venus being in Aquarius by itself is absolutely beautiful, invoking that ability to see with your heart instead of your eyes. And I'm seeing this image in my head, and this is definitely because the universe is telling me I need to work on this as well. When you see someone and you get a snap judgment, right? You have almost like a visceral reaction to people, some good, some bad. Take a second, catch yourself, and consciously make the decision to see with your heart instead of your eyes. It's almost like putting the filter over your eyes and opening the optic on your heart and making a decision each time you make a snap. You feel yourself going into that judgment place to see with the true heart versus eyes, which are very, very limited. So Venus being in Aquarius gives us such a boost of emotional intelligence. Saturn, Saturn's a different bird. So it's not necessarily self-love. I've always thought about Saturn very much as a spiritual being, like ancient wisdom, but it also rules how we see society. It kind of rules global feeling is the message that I'm getting. It connects us to society, where Aquarius is very much self. So you take these two energies, which could feel kind of opposite at times, but in truth, it's a beautiful balance of long and narrow optics, the self and then the oneness. And I really think that's what Saturn being in Aquarius allows us to do. It allows us to feel the oneness of society because it's kind of unlocking mysteries. So when you put those three elements together, Venus and Saturn completely overlapped in Aquarius, you are open. You are an emotional funnel that can allow out, that can spread love to community in a way that I think is not always capable. We're not always capable of doing. And what I mean by that, it's like Saturn is showing us and this is the image I see in my head. It's showing us the world as pieces of sand. And we can often affect the sand that's in our direct sphere, right? We can shape it, we can move it, um, we can help clean it. The Saturn energy with that much further off optic is allowing you to see the global sand. It's not just your community, it's not just your neighborhood, it's not just your family. Venus has the ability to take that Aquarius energy and shoot it out globally. So think of that as a rising tide of abilities to reach and affect people on a global level with love and acceptance, unconditional love and acceptance. So those planets being just north of the new moon was absolutely stunning. Now, directly south of the sun and the moon was Pluto, which we've had Pluto in this optic since the late 90s, I want to say. Pluto doesn't move particularly quickly, but when you bring it into all that energy, and I defy anyone to say Pluto's not a planet because it definitely has its energy field, and that also brings in the mystery. So Pluto being in line with all those, it wasn't attached to a constellation in the same way that Venus and Saturn were, but just shy of that one was Mercury, and Mercury was sitting in Capricorn. Now, people always talk about this Mercury retrograde, the inability to communicate, because essentially everything's running through a filter and it's like a game of telephone. I say what I think I'm trying to say, and they hear the message as it's passed through this filter, and it often gets skewed, and it's hard to communicate openly with each other. So as of the 19th of January, that is gone. We have passed through retrograde. So now with Mercury sitting in Capricorn, we have the ability to bring better judgment and clearer wisdom to the three-dimensional world, as well as spiritual. Mercury retrograde also can affect the way spiritual information hits you. It doesn't always feel like it lands. Maybe you don't feel like your guidance is as clear. So now we're sitting right off the tip of Capricorn, and we're bringing in that combination of energy, which when you bring in the Venus, the Saturn, the moon energy, we're taking all of that love from just above the new moon. We're bringing in the new moon's wisdom and rebirth. And you're bringing in Pluto and Mercury, communication, openness, wisdom. We're able to articulate love in a different way. We're able to spread love in a different way. We're able to feel love in a different way. It's such a powerful cul-de-sac of energy that is at our fingertips right at this moment. When we go north of where Jupiter, I mentioned that Mars was sitting directly above us. And Mars is my home planet, uh, that wonderful fiery Aries. But at the moment, it's sitting in Taurus. So directly up is Mars sitting in Taurus. And it's an interesting dichotomy of energy. So Mars is very passionate, it's very action oriented, that element of the warrior, where Taurus is the bull, slower to move. You can't really make it do what it doesn't want to do. Slower to react, maybe less confrontational unless it feels backed into a corner. So when I was first thinking and feeling into this, it felt like they could be opposing energies. But when you look a little deeper, they're actually balance. So they're bringing in that balance, just like Saturn with that communal overview that look at the larger self and Venus looking at the individual self. This is a balance of two different energies, the fire and the earth. It's grounding that fire energy, that passion into more deliberation and the ability to take a moment and see the way ahead. So that passion is there, the ability to start something new and to gain a lot of momentum, but it's grounded more in the earth than it usually is. So that is a great time to start new programs, to start something that you feel passionate about. because that Taurus energy directly above us is saying, okay, I'm here to help ground this in realism, to help set the foundation of the passion. So the passion can last longer, can be more effective, can do more good. Looking just down from that, and I've never seen this planet in the sky before. So we've got Aries directly above, and just to the side, and I totally caught this planet by accident as I was moving towards Jupiter, was Uranus. Now, Uranus is not, it wasn't something I could see with my eyes. Obviously, it's too far away, but it was this beautiful, like opalescent color in this app as it showed it on the picture, this beautiful opal color. And it caught my attention enough that I had to go back and focus in on it more. And what I saw was Uranus is sitting in Aries. So they were really close together. Mars was sitting in Taurus, while its home planet or home constellation Aries is directly above, the not connected, but with Uranus touching it. So again, I had to look at what these energies were. And Uranus is a much different field than Aries. Again, Aries is that fire, that ram, which always reminds me of kind of that Marine mentality, just kind of banging your head against the wall. And I say that with all due respect. I have many Marine friends, but Air Force is work smarter, not harder. So Uranus being in Aries allows us to take that fiery independence that we have so naturally and start breaking molds. It is a time to make waves. It is a time to bring in the changes that we've always said we want to make by holding to ourself, regardless of what society is telling us to do. It is a beautiful time to challenge the establishments and challenge self in a very, very big way. So looking at how all these planets went, and as I said, I've taken some photos of these. I'm not sure how to share them on YouTube, so I will post them in the comments so you can take a look. And please let me know if you have any questions on any of this. But we had Mars and Uranus moving down to Jupiter and Venus overlapped, moving down to, I'm sorry, Jupiter and Venus, Jupiter, then Venus and Saturn overlapped, moving down to the moon, the sun, Pluto, and then Mercury. And they were all at this cool 45-degree angle, some underneath the horizon. So, all in all, this speaks to a return to spirit. I have never seen a planetary alignment like this in my own backyard, right? I've read about them, and I'm sure things like this have happened, especially with the big evolutionary changes that we've made over the last couple of decades. But this return to spirit seems very practical. All of these planets in the different constellations that they fit in, Mars and Taurus, Uranus and Aries, they're like tools in a toolbox. I don't need all the tools necessarily to make whatever evolutionary jump I'm trying to make whatever impact I need to make. But all of these tools are available to everyone, to the planet. And it very much feels like the beings that are helping with the ascension at this time have helped to overlay these, knowing that these were lessons that were really important at this time. Breaking out of the mold, embracing love and acceptance globally, regardless, seeing from the heart and not the eyes, speaking our truths without fear, being able to communicate our truths without misunderstandings. They've put all this wonderful planetary energy out there so that we can tap into them as we need them. And it's like the way I envision it is sitting in a meditation and just like we did with the moon, connecting out to that planetary energy that I need to embrace, that I need to help strengthen me in the battles that I'm facing. So the ability to tap into those at any given point, at any day, like that, that's pretty great. So, as far as new moons bringing on a rebirth, that is the tip of the iceberg and what is available to us right now. So, one of the things I love to do with the new moon energy, just in general, is I like to write out the things that I want to manifest, what I would like the universe to help me bring into existence before the Aquarius full moon. So what I do is I get a little bowl and you can label it and I write down everything that I want to manifest in the time until the next Aquarius full moon. And I put the balls on my shelf and I can have one for each cycle. And on the full moon, the corresponding full moon, so Aquarius full moon, that's when I could bring the bowl out and thank the universe for all that is manifested. Um, do a fire ceremony to allow those dreams to release. It's almost like giving it time to incubate and percolate. So doing that today or anytime during this new moon cycle is a wonderful idea. But bring in these other energies as well. Which of these immediately called to you? Was it that passion, that balance of the passion and the grounded earth, that deliberation that you need? Was it the water and the fire with Uranus and Aries, where you're bringing in the ability to break really old karmic bonds and societal beliefs in who you are? Do you need to break out of the stagnant self? Do you need Jupiter's beautiful energy to blast like wisdom into every element of who you are? Um, I didn't even touch on where Jupiter and Neptune were sitting, which is in Pisces. Jupiter and Neptune were both sitting in Pisces. So you've got a ton of emotion and water elements in the sky right now, sitting in some of the most prevalent constellations. So think about what those energies are. Think about which calls to you, even if you don't know what they mean. Take a moment to say, all right, for whatever reason, Saturn is really calling to me, or uh, Pisces is really calling to me. Maybe that's my sign. Maybe I feel very attached to that. And just meditate into that energy. And when you're writing those little scripts on what you want to manifest, thank the energy of that constellation. Bring it in, make it a partner in this program this rebirth that you're making. And when you allow it to sit and percolate, it's now anchored into your consciousness. It's anchored into your existence. If you want to use all of the elements that are now circling uh, above us, do so. Absolutely. But bring these down into the three-dimensional world as well. Don't forget that connection that we are by nature. We are very much a bridge between spirit and life. And honoring that bridge is a wonderful way to not just make your spiritual life stronger, but to make your life light. Allow you to be light. It's already your birthright, it's already who you are, but it allows you to embrace it in a way that is impossible for others not to notice. And it's impossible not to affect every element of who you are. So, this is my homecoming to Ascended Warrior. It's a lot of information, and my father always tells me I share too much information and it takes him weeks to digest. Um, so that's possible. I will put the information that I shared in the text as well, so you can see a transcript of which planets are available, what the meanings were that I was receiving. If you are interested in more videos of this, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I will be doing more lives now. I will be bringing in guests from a new spiritual group that I've been joining, as well as bringing back some muses, guests that we all love and know, and probably reaching out to some new people as well. Mostly, I just want to get back involved in the conversation. I want to help lead the conversation of how spirit and life are meant to combine and balance. So please subscribe if you are interested in getting notifications for these videos as they are coming out. You can subscribe here on YouTube or to the Facebook page. Facebook will be incorporate posts as well, so you'll be getting some downloaded information as I get it, pictures that motivate me, events that motivate me. And if you do like the moon information and you want to tap more into the cycle of the moon. Again, please like this so that I know that you're interested in more videos of this nature. And I'll leave you with this image. One of my favorite books of all time was the books about Avalon, Miriam Zimmer Bradley. The way she described priestess training was tapping into the flow of the moon in a way that it was as normal as breathing. You felt how the moon affected you. You felt the waning and the waxing. And the events became such an amazing part of who they were that it made everything easy. They were tapping into the flow of the world in a way that is not done by most today. And this is something I want to get back to. Avalon is an energy that I've always really identified with. But that divine feminine energy of the moon controls us so much more than we realize. And when we tap into that cycle, when we become conscious of the cycle and learn to embrace the energies as they move, the rest of our lives will join that flow. And instead of going against the current, we can go with the current. So I leave you with that image of a beautiful priestess loving every element of the moon and embracing it as a part of self. So please let me know what other topics, spiritual topics you'd like to hear about. I will add that information into the posts. And thank you so much for watching. I hope all of your spiritual journeys are moving exactly the way that they need to. And welcome back to all the Ascended Warriors.